6:05. We're officially just 1 week away from the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as round 1 kicks off Thursday. The Jaguars will join the action on Friday for their second-round pick. It's 85 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air & Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
Well, my legs are super sore, and I have Tom to blame for that. Both yesterday and today, I did walking lunges with weights.
At you.
Did you?
And I did, because you said it was good for you. And I usually do lunges, but with weights, but normally just forward and back, because I'm in the confines of my living room. Which, those are fine. But once you said the walking lunges were better, I took it to the driveway.
Good.
So now all the neighbors think I'm crazy.
Yeah,
So that's
lunging
fine.
out in the
A lot of
driveway.
people work out outside.
They do. That's true.
Yeah.
Do it in the garage or, out in their out on their driveway.
Extra sweat that way.
Yeah.
Especially as a temp
especially
warm
when
up.
it's starting to get hot.
But
Yeah, those things are great for you. They are. And you can feel as you go further out how it hits all the way from the back of your leg all the way up,
Yeah, Taylor, how much?
I have not started yet. I'll start
workout advice have you
I will
taken?
get there. I will
You'll
get
get
there.
there.
Once I'm
Yep.
finished with my draft series, I'll have much more time.
Yeah.
Final one records on Sunday, and I'm done.
Okay,
So,
good.
Yeah.
Good.
I
good.
thought about this. I have some weights that I used to use that I don't really use anymore. Do you want them?
I have actually.
Okay.
I have everything. I
Yeah.
just don't use them. Like
You have
I
a
have
place at your
stretch
place,
bands.
don't you?
Yeah, and we have a big gym. But I
Yeah.
do have. I have weights. I have like a mat because I was trying to do like Pilates type stuff for a little while, and then I have the stretch bands and all of that stuff. I just sits in my closet, so I'll pull that out.
Life gets busy.
You know what I forgot to put in there? I just remembered. So, the wheel, have it, for the stomach.
Oh yeah.
I do those a lot, and that's really all I do for stomach. Not that I'm trying to get abs or anything. I just
but
want
it's
it to be
good
strong.
for core, both.
It's
I would
really
say
good.
back
It's like a
and
plank, basically. It's
abs,
like plank, back and forth. But those are good.
And
Those
I
are
feel
really
like that's a good stretch for your shoulders too.
Yeah, kind
'Cause
of
you're going
stretch it all
so
the way
far
up.
in front.
Yeah. Have you ever
I don't
seen
know
it
if I
before?
could do that.
You can after.
You're
You
on
got
your
to pull
knees.
yourself back in. That's
Oh,
where the
okay,
core
yeah,
work
okay.
comes in, right?
Gotcha,
So the
yeah,
wheel
yeah.
takes you out, and then you got to pull it back.
Have we posted Tom's workout yet?
Yeah.
I have not. I started
No.
creating the graphic for
All right,
it.
sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll,
I'll finish it
we'll
up.
Give it
The
a
world
edit.
is asking.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
on the
don't
text
think so.
line Design My Lifetime Enclosures
There
is
were
waiting.
curious people
Yeah.
Of
wanting
course.
to know this
Well, good.
workout.
Hey, listen, you get one person to do it, it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Why not?
It's going to change lives.
That's right.
The Hunt
we're here
off-season
for.
edition comes out tonight. I'm interested in this
Yeah.
one. I think the only preview that I've seen talks about James Gladstone and how much off time he's really had. I like getting that peel behind the curtain look at their, not necessarily their personal life per se, but more just when it's not football season, what does it look like for a general manager and a head coach?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that production team does a phenomenal job. That series has been getting rave reviews since day one it started. So, yeah, and I like that, too. I mean, I don't watch all of them, but all the clips, everything, just they look beautiful. They're fantastic. I mean, look, I'm a little different. I mean, I don't really care what James does outside of being a general manager. I hope he has a great time doing whatever he's doing. I wish him well and all that kind of stuff, but I don't personally. But I know fans do. I get it. You want to see what goes on, in their day-to-day lives and what they're doing, and that's cool. You want to see your players do it, I'm sure, as well, and that kind of inside look.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool they allow it. It's cool that they all allow it. Like, yeah, come on in and you can show whatever you try
I think
to show.
my favorite version of the Hunt from Jaguars.com was the off-season workout one. I forget what they called it, like the Gladiator Games or something like that.
Games. Yeah, that was cool.
That I absolutely could not get enough of.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to take us behind the scenes and actually see who's the strongest and fittest. Give me all that.
Group videos when they're working out is cool. When guys get themselves videotaped working out by themselves, I find it kind of weird, to be honest with you. I just
That's
do.
the world
I
we
know.
live in
I know
right
some of the fans like that, and I watch them, but I'm always like, oh, look at me work out. I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's like
don't
the
know.
picture it didn't happen is kind of the phrase people use now. So like you'll always see the younger generation post the picture of themselves in the gym because that's just the world they live in.
Of themselves doing everything.
Yeah.
Cooking, driving,
yeah,
walking,
all
it
of
doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you have to get that gym mirror picture or you didn't work out is what it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's the validation. Man, I've been missing out all this time.
If you go to the beach, you don't take a picture, then you didn't go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Doesn't
that.
happen.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
And
yeah.
it's also called Insta brag for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Facebook's like that too. You
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
complain, you moan, you groan, or you boast.
Yeah.
It's what
I
it
do-
is, or promote.
I do think when it comes to the hunt and the off season, I think some people care about the daily routine of what it looks like because they like the personalities of
Mhm.
people. And I think we live in this world now, to what we were just saying, where
Yep.
people have so much access to people that that they want that, they crave that. And
Yeah.
I feel like not everybody has that, especially if you are in the older generation. You didn't grow up on, you didn't have all these social media accounts and people posting where they were
Right.
and where their vacation looked like and all of that. This age group has, and so their world revolves
Mm-hmm.
around kind of knowing what else, and they thrive on just getting more and
Yeah.
more information. And so I think that's cool that they've kind of dug deeper into that. And I also think, Liam Cohen and James Gladstone are younger themselves, so they had a glimpse into that world and being around a lot of these people who have that access. But I do think it's cool in the sense of when you talk about the difference between last year and this year of, Liam said, did he say hectic or chaotic or
Frantic.
Frantic.
is what it was last year. And they definitely seemed more relaxed. So it'll be interesting to see because the difference of what the videos and pressers and all of the things we were kind of seeing before the draft last year compared to now, because even the glimpse we saw in this presser recently, they seemed more like their body language was like, oh, okay. Like we don't have to feel like we're in panic mode. And last year it probably felt like that. It was
James had just finished unpacking last year when
right.
the draft
Right. They're just
media
getting to know
availability
each
had
other.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he was hired right before the combine.
Yeah.
And obviously they had known each other
Mhm.
because of their time with the Rams, but it's totally different in these roles
Yeah.
that they have now.
And this is a whole other place for James across the country.
Yeah.
And like Liam just got to go up the state of Florida, but James was coming across this country with a new team. And yes, you're familiar because he's smart enough and he's seen, he knows what's going on in the NFL. And you could tell pretty much right away how in tune he was with the overall of the NFL and moves and general managers and teams and stuff like that. But at the same time, you definitely don't know it as well as you do your own team that you put hours and hours and hours into on a daily basis. And now they've done that for this team. So the difference in that I'm interested to see, just because I feel like it's such a different mindset going into this draft this year of what needs are and what you have to have as starters. We've had that conversation, like positions that you feel like you have to absolutely upgrade right now. And there's not as many. Last year, there was several that we were like, okay, if we don't get this, it's going to be a problem.
I think too is one thing they can never show is how much work and time goes into this whole thing. I was just talking to Coach Duffner at the Horse's Mouth at my bar, and he was just talking about as a individual coach, what he had to, how much film he had to watch on how many prospects and different teams. He's like, because we do a mock draft and one of us would have to represent a team. So we had to go dive into their draft, figure out what we think they're going to pay. And he was like, I said, man, that's a ton of work. He's like, oh, you have no idea how much. So you think about like James coming in, watch, he's got to figure out who am I keeping?
Yeah.
Who am I? Now he's relying on Tony. I'm sure Tony's like saying, hey, man, this guy's really, you're going to love this guy, but whatever the case may be. But just think about the amount of time in a short period of time that they had to figure out who are they going to keep, who are they going to draft, who are they going to do in free agency, all that stuff together. And the staff, by the way, putting that all together. It's so frantic.
Right,
I don't
quickly.
even, you can see what frantic is. That's like, holy cow, the amount of work that you have to do to get to this point. And by the way, they rip off 13 wins, which makes it even more incredible that they were able to do that.
And think about down the line when this entire roster are players that they selected, right? Like it'll take a while to get to that point.
Yeah.
But there will be a day, assuming that both of them keep this job for quite some time, that every single player is one that they either signed in free agency or they drafted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully
That's
a
the
long
key.
time because you're going to have Trevor and Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon on this for a while.
Yeah, maybe Trevor aside. The other ones, good point.
There'll be some guys that you're hoping are here beyond the next 10 years. But and I think that, I mean, even in the podcast series that I've been doing for the draft, there's about 60-something prospects that I've talked about in the last 3 weeks. that multiply that by so many of when you talk about what these scouts and coaches and general managers of film they have to watch and guys they have to break down. And it's hard. Your mind starts to cross at points of like, okay, I just learned about 12 different cornerbacks and you're trying to remember which corner went where and did what. And they're doing that to a whole other level. So you give them a lot of credit in this, and to the point of last year in such a small period of time, them being able to kind of get that all together.
And look, no matter what conference we're talking about, you're not going against NFL caliber week in and week out. So it's hard to evaluate. You know what I mean? Like you could see a prospect go against somebody that's also a prospect and see how they're pretty close. And then you see the prospect totally whooping the other guy's tail, and he's not a prospect at all. Like he'll probably go be selling software in a year. You know what I mean? And no dig on him. It's just the facts. So it's really hard to evaluate these young men just on tape alone and really figure out, okay, will that transfer into our league? Right. It's not just, like if you're faster than everybody, just run around everybody. Well, okay, you're not going to be faster than everybody in the NFL. Mike Vick showed us that. Remember when Mike Vick came in? He was unbelievable. He was like a video game. And then that very next year, Baltimore broke his leg. They caught him on I think it was a preseason game or something like that, or a Monday night game. And he tried to escape, and they caught him and tackled him and broke his leg. He was out for the year. I'm like, no one's ever going to be that fast to just outrun everybody in the National Football League. So the point is, it's got to be more than just what your athletic ability is. It's got to be more than just what's on the tape. And you got to sift through, like, okay, not only is it going to transfer, but is he going to transfer? You know what I mean? Like into the NFL. Yeah. Can he handle everything that he's going to face in the National Football League? And that's, at least there's no perfect science for it. You know what I mean? It's just none.
Definitely not an exact science. You think now at least they're coming in with some money. So like whatever they get as a new contract, it's not going to be this, you go from having college dollars, which is not a whole lot, to all of a sudden getting millions.
All this money,
Yeah, or at least hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And so now they at least have some experience. Most of the players, at least at the Power 4 level, have some experience with some sort of income and salary. And so you'd hope that they have a financial planner or someone in their life that can help them. Because I feel like that, for some guys, that derails them early on.
Absolutely. I mean, I was paid the minimum, and I thought I was like loaded. Yeah. Like my first,
because you were for that age.
For that age, I was. Yeah,
Think
for
about that, amount in comparison. Right, exactly. There will be people that will work their entire lives and never make that amount of money that some of these players make in 1 year.
No doubt, especially
one check.
Today. I mean,
one check. I know. I thought about that for I thought about that for Trevor and Marissa. Like you've been living your life at an early 20s at a very wealthy level, and then that just ratcheted up when it comes to this season. Like 20 or 30 million, you think, wow, I have so much money. And you do. Yeah. Now 55 million per year. Like that's
wow, there's so much more money.
Now you're buying the jet instead of leasing
Using the jet,
Exactly. All right, more Jaguars to discuss. We'll keep it on the NFL Draft. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Do your film study, work on field, get in the weight room, and guys will follow you, especially when you get on the field and you make plays.
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Brooks and Dunn and Blake Shelton are going to rock the country in Ocala this August. For your chance to win weekend passes to the Rock the Country Festival, text COUNTRY to the 1010XL text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010.
Hey guys, Coach Campo here. We just left Tony D's Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295. My wife is still raving about the eggplant parmesan. At Tony D's, it's more than just pizza. I'll see you there.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. Termites, chinch bugs, roaches. It's their time of year to shine. Preventative maintenance is a heck of a lot cheaper than treating an active infestation. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule your free estimate.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation? From a real person? Good luck. That is what's so nice about Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Unlike publicly traded conglomerates with headquarters in faraway cities, Mike Merritt's Heating and Air remains family-owned and operated by Mike, your neighbor. Mike Merritt has delivered hometown service, integrity, and pricing for generations. The big guys incentivize their techs to sell you new equipment. Mike's team emphasizes repair first. We only sell you equipment if your current equipment is worn out and beyond repair. And let's be honest about price. Small operations without much overhead can sometimes lowball your job, but you can't trust just anyone with a truck. They may be here today and gone tomorrow. Mike Merritt has been keeping North Florida cool for more than 3 decades. That's experience and dedication you can count on. Call today or see us on the web.
Florida license number CAC 050384.
Hi, this is Dr. George Bari, an orthopedic surgeon who is fellowship trained in sports medicine. If you are a young athlete or a weekend warrior, I treat you with the care and expertise that is needed to diagnose and treat your injury. Come see me at Bari Orthopedics to get the care that you need.
Be sure and check out the expertise from Dr. George Bari and the entire staff at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com. And follow Doc on Instagram at Dr.GeorgeBari. Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents. Look no further, though, than I-9 Sports, covering Duval, St. John's, and Clay to get your youngster in the game. Summer and fall registration open right now for flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball, plus girls volleyball at UNF and Bishop Snyder. Fields and gyms all over the First Coast, including Fort Family Field. And the best thing is, I-9 Sports offers sports year-round, so kids can always find a sport to play. I9sports.com, enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
Fight night is here. Join Dan and I at UNF Arena for Guns N' Hoses, Saturday, April 18th. You want to be a part of the pugilistic festivities? Go to GNHJacks.com and get your tickets now. It's Guns N' Hoses, Saturday, April 18th.
You lost your swing. We got to go find it.
It's your Saturday morning swing adjustment.
Grip it and rip it.
Get the golf tips and talk to take your game to the next level. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dell, Topic Minutes, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you, talking a lot of NFL draft, considering it comes up a week from today. The Jaguars' first pick a week from tomorrow. There was a few years ago that I read the Players Tribune article that Laviska Shenault wrote, and I immediately wanted the Jaguars to draft him.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up drafting him. It obviously ended up not working out long term. But I just loved the personality. I sent y'all a link earlier today to an ESPN article about Akheem Mesidor, who I watched a ton this football season, obviously out of Miami, the defensive end. But I didn't know the backstory. You heard all about Ruben Bain and Akheem Mesidor, the tandem that was obviously wrecking quarterbacks all season long. Miami making it to the national championship. I had no idea that he was from Canada, and I had no idea that he was forced to play inside when he was at West Virginia, and that's why he wanted to transfer to Miami. He worked really well with Jason Taylor, who of course is a phenomenal coach, and he also had to lose weight, and that's why he wanted to play edge, because of course everybody wants to be edge over tackle if they can be defensively. And then he also swam this offseason in order to lose that weight to get into shape. And I just love his journey. Mom was a single mom of 4 kids. And so he came from a tough upbringing, had to walk a couple miles in a snowstorm back in Canada. But I just love the grit and determination that he's shown to make it to this point in time. I wish the Jaguars could draft him. I just don't think he's going to be there anywhere close to 56.
No, you're going to get one heck of a guy, though, I think. He and a worker. You love guys. There are a lot of stories that are just so inspirational. But his is nothing short of that. His mother getting a third job in order to go to that camp early on in his life. That was a big sacrifice. She talked about not having food at times, the electricity being out, just really, really tough times. But he had people that did help him, that guided him, that said, hey, you could be this, football player or whatever. You could be this thing. And he took it to heart, and he really worked. And the swimming's great. The pool work, running in a pool is fantastic for you. Like actually running high knee and then sprinting. Like it's full resistance the whole time. If you go up and up to your neck, it really is like if you're going against full resistance. So he was swimming though, and that obviously dropped the weight, got him down to like 265. He had a monster year.
And Ruben Bain swam 10 laps and said, "I'm out."
Yeah, well, it's boring. Those first 10 laps are boring.
Yeah. Well, and you're also out of breath because you're not able to breathe the whole time. But it was awesome. He got up to a mile swimming.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long way to swim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's cool because we get wrapped up when we're talking about the draft a lot of times about just how do we make this team better, the Jaguars. And so it's so much about that sometimes you forget that it's about these players and a lot of the different, and that's the reason I started my podcast, was because you get to know how the player got to this point in time, and everybody has a different story of how they got there, and some are very difficult like this. They shared about how he would walk like the 2.5 miles, and because he didn't have a ride or money to take the bus, they didn't have food at one point in time, no heat in the house, so they were using candles to heat up the home. And it's just stuff like that it's heartbreaking, but then it also is like, okay, if you get through all of those things, and then now he's a week away from being drafted in the first round of the NFL draft, and that
he is
like
25.
it gives me,
that's the only a little bit
he's
of injuries.
been,
and
it was
he's
6
25
years,
old.
which some people are. I've heard several now. I know Caserio from the Texans have talked about it. I heard Ryan Poles talking about it, where sometimes they're like, that's a lot of experience to us. So you have to kind of look at it and make sure, injuries and stuff like that. But some of the general managers are saying you're getting a mature player, you're getting a player who is closer to the ceiling. So you're better. It's easier to project what they're going to be than some of these guys that are 22 years old, because there's so much. You talk about the 22-year-olds and you're like, oh, well, their frame could still grow and like this and this. And there's all of these factors that go into it. You feel like you have it closer to a finished product when you're having these guys that have had 5 and 6 years in college football. Now there's more tread, and that's going to be some of the conversation. So you're weighing those two things back and forth. But yeah, I think Akheem Mesidor, I did my podcast with one of the Miami guys, and he's one of the players we talked about. And it was interesting because he's had feet issues. Like he's had multiple foot injuries. And so that's affected some of the times, and that's what some people are looking at in this. But what he told me, I talked to Adam Lichtenstein, who we've had on our show before. He got special cleats made because he was seeing like feet specialists, whatever that's called.
Podiatrist?
Yes. Yep. And so he was seeing that, and they went into, did all of these, examined his feet, examination, however you want to say that, of his feet, and, what's wrong, whatever the weight was putting on was affecting certain things, because he tore ligaments in both feet at different times. So he had special cleats made. So he said during spring camp of last year, I believe it was, he was kind of off to the side, and everybody was asking what was going on. Like, was he injured again, or what the issue was? And they were like, no, he's waiting for these special cleats, because these cleats are supposed to help his feet, and like whatever the specific issue is, like medical cleats technically that he now has made, so he doesn't, or at least it lessens the chance of these certain foot injuries happening again. So
is that overpronation? Is that what that is?
What?
If your foot isn't at the right angle?
You mean like if it? It's like if it's like you're bending outwards. Yeah, I think so. That's how mine are. I run on the outsides of my feet.
Yeah. Could you have had special cleats made and that would have helped?
I don't know. I don't recall them.
It's also technology has changed.
Technology. You'd have to think, depending on what the injuries are, but you'd have to think that you'd have cleats that could support your feet. Maybe Caleb Banks needs something like that.
Yeah, so immediately what came
the
to
feet,
mind.
man. The big men in the feet not bothers me. Just it's pretty risky.
Yeah,
because they're so big, and they're on their feet.
Yeah.
It sounds so stupid, I know, but they are. They're on their feet all the time.
Yeah.
And these defensive linemen, the torque that they put on their foot when they're rushing and pushing and bending and coming around, and you know what I mean. It's just a lot on those feet, and if they're susceptible to injury, whatever that may be,
it concerns you.
Yeah. And now, granted, I'm not a foot doctor, right? I mean, I can play one on TV. I can talk about it enough because I've had enough injuries, radio. But I'm not there reading the MRI or the CAT scan or what. Caleb Banks getting hurt right before the combine the night before. that would throw me off a little bit. Like, so maybe he was jumping, running. I don't mean character, but why'd the foot break? Like, what happened that you? Well,
is it going to break again?
Is it going to break again?
Do you have a proclivity in that foot? Yes, it's going to happen.
It might happen again.
Not
and if it
just
doesn't
once.
happen in the fourth metatarsal, it moves to the third.
Yeah, and I think it was his fifth.
Yeah.
I think for
I
him.
think it's the fourth. The one was the fourth. Yeah, but whatever. They're next to each other.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, who knows? That means because, a lot of times when you have an injury, you favor something else and you end up hurting something else. Yeah, you overcompensate almost. So, but back to Mesidor. It's a great story. And I tell you, one of the things got like stories like that, they're working out when nobody's watching. That's like one of the highest quality you could have it as an athlete, when you just go work on and you don't care if anybody sees you. You're not doing it for that. You're work because it's almost like here he is, like, I'm going to Miami or I'm West Virginia. I don't really know. I don't know. You don't know where you're going to end up. He does now.
Sure.
But when you don't know and you're still working out when nobody's watching, that's when you build in that, I'm chasing a dream. Like, that's what that grit is. Like, you're chasing a dream that's not anybody else's dream. And you don't know when it's going to come, but you're still just working at it. You know what I mean?
He did take time away from football because he felt like he needed to bring an income in for his family.
Yeah. He did.
He wasn't sure, the trajectory that his football career was headed. And so I think when you take a step back, sometimes that's the best possible thing because you realize just how much you miss it. For some people, they take a step back and they never go back to it.
Yeah. Like, I'm actually happy.
For me with swimming, I should have gone back and I said, I just need a little break and then I'll get back into it. But my break was never again.
Yeah.
And so my parents are always like, you know, that was your best sport. You should have stayed in it.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I just was like, I'm overwhelmed with this one sport and I needed a break. But I should never have taken the break.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think that for him, that's what, if you haven't read the story, go read it. It's on ESPN because, it's just really cool to kind of see the whole path of how he ended up at Miami and then what's happened since then, because part of that too, which they talk a little bit about in this story, but I talked more about in my podcast too, was because you see a little bit of a drop off last year. So 2023 and 2024, in 23, he got injured. That's when he had one of the foot injuries. So he missed the majority of that year. And then he started a little bit banged up. Then he played throughout that season, but the problem was they had injuries on the interior of the defensive line, so they slid him in, which he had played previously, but he doesn't love it. He likes to be on the outside. He likes to rush the passer from the edge. That's just what he enjoys doing.
More room.
And so he was talking about, I guess he was like, I'll do it because the team needs it. And this is obviously 2024. And so they were even talking about if he didn't play both of those, because they'd slide him inside sometimes, he'd play edge sometimes, so his numbers weren't exactly what you would like box score wise, because he had 5.5 sacks last year, 12.5 this year, but they think he would have came out last year and gotten drafted if he wouldn't have had to play so much on the interior defensive line. But he was like, no, I want to go back and have a full season as an edge rusher because I think I can be a first round pick. And here we are.
Yeah, 12.5 sacks and a bunch of tackles for loss. So that guy's active.
Yeah, 17.5 for loss.
That guy's an active.
Andrea Adelson is the one who wrote the story for ESPN.
Yeah.
Like you said, she did a great job. And yes, you were correct. For Caleb Banks, fourth metatarsal. I thought I had heard fifth metatarsal.
Well, whatever.
So that's the fifth is the pinky.
The fifth is outside.
Right, the outside
of your foot. And then just move it in.
Makes sense.
Move it in one. But, again, it doesn't mean that he does have chronic foot problems, but he's had some foot injuries, and that would concern me. Now, as we move on into the third round, maybe not so much, but I feel like 50 or whatever that first pick is for our team, it can't miss. You just can't miss. You can't miss a second rounder. We've missed second rounders.
Yeah.
I'm
sure every team has, but
no, I know.
Yeah. Did the doctors, were they aware of your foot concerns when you were heading into the NFL?
I didn't get drafted, so I don't know. The worst injury came when my 5th year as a Jag, when I severed my my peroneus longus tendon. It's the longest tendon in your body, actually. Did you know that, Taylor? It is. It connects from outside your knee, around your ankle, attaches to your 5th metatarsal, and then comes underneath to your big toe. It's your flexor tendon. So when you push off your big toe, that's the tendon that is helping you push off, and I ripped it right underneath the ankle.
Do we call that the IT band?
No, the IT band's up on the side of your thigh. So it starts at the bottom, like outside your knee, and then down.
Got it.
Was that in a game?
It was. It was the last play of our game against Carolina. And I was still in position to make a play because it was a 5-yard stick route, which is just a 5-yard option route. And the guy went out, but Burline went the other way. And I think Lonnie Martz knocked the ball down to win the game, 22-20. That was when we were 2-0 after that. But I knew right away I couldn't put any weight on it. It was wild because everyone's going crazy celebrating. And I'm just sitting there like, ow.
Something's wrong.
That hurts.
And you didn't cry?
No, I don't. No, I didn't after the game. No, I didn't. Because I was still optimistic. I didn't know the problem.
Well, right.
Yeah.
I had no idea. All I know is that I hurt my foot really bad. They put me in a boot. I could walk with the boot. And it was fun. It was interesting. So I went up to Chicago. Our doctor here, he wanted to do a surgery that just kind of, he wanted to cut the bottom of my foot. And I'm like, I don't think that sounds right. So I talked to my agent. He's like, let's get a second opinion. I said, well, I went to a doctor that was the Bears doctor, being from Chicago when I was in high school, Dr. Lowell Weil. He's great. He's got a little foot institute thing up there. He's a world-renowned guy. And so anyway, I get up there and he brings in his understudies. Check it out. You see his MRI. I'm up on the table. They're looking. They're like, he's like, where's it torn? Where's it torn? And none of them could figure it out, right?
Interesting.
I told them where it hurt, but they couldn't see from the scan or what they were doing. So anyway, Dr. Weil goes, Tom, get up and go to the wall. So I get up, I go to the wall. I got my boot off. And he goes, go up on both your toes. And I did. I could with both feet, hold it onto the wall. He goes, pick up your hurt foot. And okay, no problem. Picked it up, stayed up. He goes, now pick up your good foot. Right away, my fell to my heel hit the floor. I couldn't it was unbelievable. And he's like, that's where you tore it. He goes, let's go to the ultrasound. So we go to the ultrasound and there's a gap in my tendon, like I don't know, a few millimeters or whatever. Yeah. It's just dark. He's like, that's where it's torn. I was like, that's where it hurts.
So did he say the same surgery?
So what he had to do was we're playing medical doctors here today, but there's another
We're trying to get to the bottom of the feet.
So there's another tendon that runs underneath your peroneus longus called the brevis, and it goes from your fifth metatarsal to somewhere in your ankle, okay? He made them one. He had to make them one. That was the only way to fix
So do you have different flexibility in that ankle?
Yes. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And it'll burn every so often, but nothing to where, I can't function.
So when he told you about that, did he say immediately you won't play football again?
No, he didn't really say anything. I didn't say, am I ever going to play again? I knew I had to rehab. I rehabbed it pretty good. I felt like I could have still played, but for whatever reason, I did not get signed. So yeah, it was a pretty nasty injury. Actually, it's normally, peroneus longus injuries normally happen in basketball. Guys coming down from a rebound and they land on someone's foot and they roll and then it tears. So it's kind of a very rare foot injury, but I've had weird feet.
Yeah.
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe you could have used the cleats.
Maybe so. Yeah. I mean, I used orthotics for a long time. I don't wear them anymore.
Yeah.
Because my arch did fall a little bit, but I did wear orthotics since I was like 15. I always had them in my feet, or my shoes, no matter what, school shoes, lifting, running, or any athletic type shoe.
We've never talked so much about feet on this program, but
welcome to Foot 101 here on Helmets and Heels.
We also were in a show when Rex Ryan had his
the foot fetish.
So it's a whole other thing.
That's a totally different foot story.
All right, and more to do on the other side. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Tom McManus here for Armstrong Fence Company, a locally owned and operated business on the First Coast for nearly 20 years. Known for reliability, quality craftsmanship, and professional service, Armstrong Fence handles it all, from big projects like stadiums and schools to your very own backyard. They build a wicked strong fence, and they do it right the first time. When you need a fence in Jacksonville, trust Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Dinner tonight? Make it easy and make it something everyone will love. With the Flame Broiler Family Meal Plan, you can feed 4 fast with fresh, flavorful options. You get 20 ounces of your choice of protein. Mix and match your favorites, plus steamed rice and a fresh veggie medley. It's a complete no-stress meal the whole family can agree on, starting at just $34.99. Skip the cooking tonight. Bring the family together and stop by any of Flame Broiler's 5 locations today.
Here's a health and wellness tip from orthopedic specialists of Jacksonville.
This is Dr. Hiram Carrasquillo, orthopedic surgeon, fellowship training foot and ankle conditions from the orthopedic specialist of Jacksonville. Achilles tendon injuries are common in athletes, but most can be prevented. Warm up properly, stretch your calves, build strength gradually, and wear supportive shoes. Listen to your body. Don't push through pain. Protect your Achilles so you can stay in the game. For more tips, visit osjax.com.
Stay healthy with orthopedic specialists of Jacksonville.
It's Guggen time. You and a partner have a chance to play in this year's Coastal Equipment Guggen Open, April 27th at the Golf Club of Southampton. Text Guggen to 641-1010 to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Enjoy a cigar from Tobacco Cove. Check out the topdressing.com super vehicle. Get some great gold swag from liveforevergolf.com. Enjoy a Chick-fil-A breakfast and lunch from Dandy Foods, thanks to Ahead Digital Transformation and McGew Health and Wellness.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Osprey Baseball returns home to beautifully renovated Harmon Stadium Tuesday, April 21st, as North Florida welcomes the Florida State Seminoles. Grab your family and friends for this powerhouse midweek matchup at Harmon Stadium Tuesday, April 21st. Get your tickets before they sell out. Call 904-620-BIRD or visit unfospreys.com/buy tickets now. 904-620-BIRD or unfospreys.com/buy tickets now.
What if the next roof you put on your home was the last one? Not another replacement in 15 or 20 years, the last roof. Metlock Roofing is Florida's only manufacturer and installer of this exclusive roofing system. Engineered for strength, built for Florida weather, backed by a lifetime warranty. Imagine never needing another roof. Call 938-9933 or visit metlokroofing.com. Get your last roof today with Metlock. License number CCC 1335581.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
More NFL draft as we are a week away from the first round beginning at 8 p.m. and then on Friday at 7 p.m. when, of course, the Jaguars, at least for now, are picking at 56. I did see Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports said, trends that are shaping this class. You won't see many safeties, off-ball linebackers, or tight ends drafted in the first round next week, in large part because of positional value. Using that same logic, you would assume there may be plenty of interest at defensive tackle. While there is interest there, the players may not be. Teams do not love the defensive tackles in this year's draft.
Yep. It's interesting. So I was looking through a bunch of mocks early this morning, and NFL, and you take it for what it's worth, right? I mean, they're all over the place, but NFL draft headquarters had a draft, and I was looking at, because it was kind of cool, they would have the pick, and then they labeled it like QB1, like that's, Fernando's QB1, and then like OT3 or whatever. And they're in their first round, there were 7 edges taken, 5 wideouts, 5 offensive tackles, 1 defensive tackle in the first round, 1 tight end in the first, kid out of Oregon, 3 backers and 3 corners. That's all I did, right? You go into the second round, another 3 edges, so you're up to 10. This is before we pick at 56. So 10 edges in this draft are already gone before the Jags pick. Wide receivers added, 4 offensive tackles, so 9 offensive tackles are gone by then. Adding 2 linebackers, 0 tight ends in the second round, which seems odd, but whatever. And then 5 corners and 5 defensive tackles in that second round. before we pick at 56. So it's just interesting how, you hear deep class.
Yeah.
Well, deep doesn't mean they're all in the first round, right? It means, no, we got a first rounder, we got some second rounders, and we got some later picks.
Yeah,
But
edge
thought that was
deep is
interesting.
deep for sure. But yeah, to his point, Jonathan Jones, he said Peter Woods, Caden McDonald, and Kristen Miller are 3 who are in contention to be the first defensive tackle taken. But I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or more of them have to wait to hear their names until Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the defensive tackle group is very much liked at this point. Those guys, when you talk about a Peter Woods, there's just questions because of the kind of regression this last year.
Right.
If it was last year, he probably would have been
Higher.
a little bit higher. But a lot of people are kind of critical on the reverse motion that both as Peter Woods and one of their other defensive linemen for Clemson too, but both of them kind of had regression years, and so there's like some concern of okay, well, you had the one really good year in 2024, but was that a flash? Just kind of like a flash in the pan type of thing.
Yeah.
What did you say at the top of that of what he said about the safeties?
He said, hang on, I was trying to figure out no, you're good. The other Clemson defensive lineman. He said, you won't see many safeties, off-ball linebackers, or tight ends drafted in the first round next week, in large part because of positional value.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I mean,
in
I think
the first round. That doesn't mean, obviously,
I think we'll see 3 safeties in the first round. I think Downs, Thieneman, and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren will all be in the first round. But there is
Downs maybe as early as the top 10.
Yeah, and I think Downs in the top 10, Thieneman, I'm guessing in the top 16, 17, and then I think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, he's mocked to the Bears a lot, so I could
25.
see if he's around 25 or in that range at least. So I think all of that, but there is a big gap between that and then AJ Halsey's kind of like that next projected one to go, and he's more towards the end of the second round. So I do think there'll be 3 that goes in the first round, but then you'll have a big gap of safeties.
Was TJ Parker?
Yes, TJ Parker.
Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to think
that's
of the
right.
one.
Yep.
Yeah. So both of those guys had really good 2024s and then not really good.
Yeah, Clemson overall.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't have a really good year. The quarterback he was considered a top.
Yeah, Cade Klubnik.
Not top prospect, but a better prospect than he's positioned at right now. I think with the D tackles, it's because they're nose tackles. Most of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
not getting
think,
to the quarterback means you're not going to be drafted as early.
Yeah, the league thinks, you need a really good nose, but you need other people on the defensive line before you need a really good nose. But in actuality, you need the nose.
Yeah.
If you don't have the nose, you're screwed.
Yeah. That's what we've learned, not just here in Jacksonville, but other teams too. If you don't have a strong interior defensive line, your edges aren't going to play as well.
No,
your linebackers aren't going to play as well, and your secondary's dang sure not going to play as well because you're not good against the run and getting any interior pressure. I did want to mention that the second most accurate mock drafter over the past 5 years is Brendan Donahue, since we were just talking about Caleb Banks. He works with Sharp Football Analysis. So his very first mock draft to start 2026 off, he had Caleb Banks in the first round. And then after the injury at the Combine, in his most recent mock draft, he does not have him in the first round. So I do wonder if we see, and we've discussed obviously where he could be drafted now for a while, but I do wonder if he gets past that first round, is that a guy that teams, not just the Jaguars, but other teams might say, we're willing to take that risk on the injury and we're going to trade up to get this guy because he's a special athlete.
Yeah, I could see it. I think Caden McDonald's probably going to be the first interior defensive lineman off the board, and I could see that towards the end, like 25, 26, and then, or maybe, and that's what in this conversation or Tommy's, you're going into the top of the second round. But that's what's interesting is how much do people start to panic a little bit about the defensive tackles? Like if Caden goes and then Caleb Banks is sitting there, let's say at 39, 40, I would think that people would start calling and being like, okay, let's try and get up for this kid. Maybe we didn't want to use that first round pick on him, but you're talking about now the 40th pick in the second round, and you're talking about a player that when healthy is really, really good. And so that's when you start to debate that. And then all of a sudden, Caden and Caleb are off the board, and then you have Peter Woods and Christian Miller and Lee Hunter. And so how quickly do those guys start going once Caden and Caleb are off the board? That's what's going to be interesting to kind of follow, because a lot of people are really high on Lee Hunter. They have him like high 30, around 35 to 45. So if you talk about a guy like that, I could see right before the Jags picking. Grayson Halton is somebody we've talked about a lot here. He's
Good
more
pass rusher.
Yeah, he's looking like he'll be more in like the beginning of the third round. But if you all of a sudden start seeing this run on those DTs, do people try and climb up to get Grayson because he's that next tier just behind those guys?
Right, and they know it's not a deep defensive tackle draft.
Yeah.
So if there is a run on a position, that's when you do see teams decide to move away from maybe the player that they had slotted and with their next pick and say, no, we got to switch to this position group because otherwise we're not
getting
get
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Or until the 6th round, and you're taking a big gamble at that point.
Right. I think at least with the DTs, I mean, you can look at different mocks and positional rankings where, you look at your Zane Durant. I've seen him, later in the rounds out of Penn State. You liked him early.
Yeah.
McClellan out of Missouri. Maybe
by
in
way
that,
of Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
Landon Robinson was one I had out of Navy.
Yep.
You could probably get a little later.
And Halton, I like Halton a lot. He's a little undersized, but he's the best pass rusher out of all of them. His win rate's pretty good. Take it for, what it's worth. But I think there'll be, look, I don't think you have to press at 56, but I do find it you're going to have, at least maybe a half dozen of those top defensive tackles gone.
Yeah.
And then you just got to figure out the next tier. Same with edge. You may have 10 edges gone. That's one draft mock. Obviously, you can't go by that solely, but
that's a
just
lot.
think like that's a lot. And then you're like, oh man,
before you even get to the Jags is what you were saying.
Before you even get to number 56.
Yeah. And Taylor, I know you sent us a link to Justin Mello's edges that could be available day 3. That's when you see something like that dissipate. Like, never mind, those guys are now going
rising quickly
Friday night because teams, have decided that obviously everyone knows they need a really good edge rusher, and you don't need just one; you need multiple of those guys. And so, we can look at Justin Mello's list in a little bit. But when we return, Tommy's take comes out your way, and we have a giveaway. So keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Step into the arena. Step on the field. Step up to the plate. 1010XL.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, the Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
An evening with legendary comedian Jeff Foxworthy.
But they have a rule in my neighborhood. If you walk your dog and your dog does his business in somebody else's yard, you need to get a little plastic bag, pick it up, and dispose of it. So you drive through my neighborhood, and there's all these attractive women walking around with poo-poo purses.
Jeff Foxworthy Live, April 23rd, 7:30 p.m. at Thrasher Horn Center. Get tickets now at thcenter.org.
When you drive past a Kuhn Flowers location, did you know their inside showroom is filled with gift items? Kuhn Flowers isn't just for sending flowers. Frank Frangie here, and when I need a unique gift, I head for Kuhn Flowers, Beach Boulevard, and in Ponte Vedra since 1947. Kuhn Flowers.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Save up to $10,000. Beard's has case after case of designer bands for men and women. White gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, and platinum. Buy his, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't do this, but Beard's can. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Now through April 19th. Beard's Diamonds, your local jeweler at St. John's Town Center.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Got a dent or a scratch that needs fixing? San Jose Collision in Mandarin offers expert auto body repair and works with all insurance. Family owned and locally trusted. San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Looking for an exciting, fun-filled evening the whole group can enjoy? Welcome to indoor football. Welcome to the Jacksonville Sharks. Discover the thrill of the indoor league. Fast-paced, action-packed, and it's family fun. Be there when your Sharks take on the Orlando Pirates Friday, April 17th at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Kickoff, 7 o'clock. Halftime performance by the world-famous Disconnected Canines. Ask about our family 4-packs. 4 tickets and $50 in food vouchers, all for only $100. There's no better value. Get your tickets now at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. It's Country Night presented by Roland Reese Plumbing. Dust off your boots, throw on your camo, get ready for a night full of football fun and great music. Join us on the field after the game for our free autograph session, sponsored by Flight Adventure Park. Tickets start at $15. Call 904-621-0700. That's 621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made.
Go Sharks!
Fins up.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dell, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. We have a family 4-pack of voucher tickets to go see the Jumbo Shrimp. The Shrimp are home all week against the Charlotte Knights. If you want to go to VyStar Ballpark to go see them, be caller number 4-641-1010. Caller number 4-641-1010. And I will tell you, the Jumbo Shrimp are on a 3-game win streak, including 2 shutout victories in the last 3 games.
Nice.
They are back at it tonight for Coors Light Thirsty Thursdays. First pitch at 7:05.
Crustacean Nation, let's go.
Let's go.
Right.
I got Thirsty Thursdays with my lawnmower. I know that today. So that's what I'm getting into.
That's the day of the week that you mow your lawn.
Thursday nights. Yeah,
I got it.
It's
I'm
just
supposed
the
to
time I do it.
operate machinery.
It's in between pushing. I don't keep it on the actual.
It's not a riding lawnmower, so you're not drinking and driving, so that's fine. I think it's allowed.
I don't think that's considered.
Sir, can you pull over? I mean, it might be.
It might be.
I don't know. I'm not going to weigh in on that. But time now for Tom's take.
Now, Tommy's Takes. Protected by Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com, or dial #law. That's all.
All right, my take today on this beautiful Thursday is, I know I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I love where we live. Last night, our anniversary, right? So my wife, we're figuring out what we're going to do. And
you just said whatever you want.
What? Yeah, exactly.
Happy wife, happy life.
You know what we did? We went down to the corner.
Okay.
We went to Sliders first.
Nice.
We had oysters. We had the Royal Reds, which are like little lobster shrimp.
Love those,
oh, my gosh, they're so good. And what else did we? I think that's all we had. Had a couple drinks. We walked down to the Italian place because we like that bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Salmaria, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Joey, the bartender, makes a great martini, so we went there. And then we walked over, just walking around, and then we walked over to Hawkers and sat at the bar and got a few different items to eat.
Somehow I knew you'd be at Hawkers at some point.
It was so great.
Yeah,
it was just so great that you just it's right down the road. You can walk there. We didn't walk there, but dropped it off at valet, and I got a great relationship with my valet brothers. I appreciate you guys. You're fantastic. But it really is a fantastic place to live, and when you can just enjoy yourself like that, to me, we live in paradise. So I love that. But mine's twofold today, and I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but I'll bring it up because I just saw it. Paul Posluszny will announce the second-round pick for our Jaguars, and I love Paul. I see him in the community. He's up at the beach. He's such a good guy. What a player! I mean, that guy was one of the best middle linebackers to play the game. I remember him as a sophomore at Penn State. He won the whatever, butt kiss or whatever, and he hurt his knee, I think, the next year. But then he came back and won it again or something like that. He just got inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I'm not
he's
bringing it
incredible.
up for that. I'm bringing it up because he's just a really good dude, and cool to see that he's
Yeah.
going to be announcing that second-round pick come this draft up in Pittsburgh. And that's my take, brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com, and Pound Law. That's all when you need their help.
Yes, 2-time winner of the Chuck Bednarik Award.
Bednarik, there you go.
Talk about somebody who
Beast.
just looks like a middle linebacker.
Absolutely.
Remember when he had the long hair?
Yeah.
And he'd be bleeding from his nose, and all your women were like, oh my gosh, it's Brad Pitt in Legends of the Fall. Look at him. My daughters had a huge crush on Paul.
Really?
They still do.
I
Oh,
guess
yeah,
I would have thought
think
they were a
he's-
little too young for that.
Oh, no, my Avery thinks he hung the moon. Are you
Okay.
kidding me? Oh, he's the best.
I know other people that have had a crush on him. I had to interview him in the locker room one time. And for people who don't know, after games, guys are showering for the most part, right?
Naked.
So a lot of them,
I sometimes did it on purpose when the ladies came in just to see what they were doing.
yeah, I always kept my eyes at a certain level, eye
You're
level,
supposed to.
right? That's what I would do. But I had to interview Puzz, and he was about to go shower. He hadn't showered yet. And so he was standing at his locker, and I was like, do you have, just a few minutes? And he's like, sure. And he had his toothbrush like in his mouth the whole time we were doing the interview. And it was so distracting to me. I'm like, take the toothbrush out. Like your towel around your waist, not distracting.
Yeah,
the
right.
toothbrush
Yeah,
in
Your
mouth,
half-naked body,
very
I'm not even
distracting
paying
for me.
attention to.
But no, he was awesome.
Yeah,
I
he's
know,
incredible.
so good to media, but also, yeah, like you said, lives in Atlantic Beach and works
good.
out all the time and
Yep.
great family.
Yeah,
and,
he's at Nancy Dance.
Okay.
I keep telling him he's taking over. He's taking
Yeah,
over. He's
for
the one
you.
that's got to, yeah, it's time. He's still athletic. He can jump up on bars and sing and dance and that kind of stuff. So he'll
Your
do it.
days as Gaston are over?
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think unless my Harley asks me for next year, but you never know. We'll see.
Does Leslie act or dance or sing?
No, but he, you know what? He would pick up his girls while we were rehearsing. He was always peeking through the window. He's like, "Oh, that looks really fun."
Okay.
So yeah,
You're
Yeah,
like,
I
come
like
on
passing the
in.
torch.
yeah.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. One of my favorite, probably Jaguars of this century.
Yeah.
Is Puzz Leslie.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah.
Great
Right.
player. Good
Yeah,
guy.
always in the right
Leader.
place.
You talk about his
Yep.
leadership. That was one of the things like you with the Telvin Smith
Mhm.
situation. I remember him at the podium just crying when he announced his retirement because he was like, this man, like he was my mentor. He meant everything to me in this locker room. And so guys like that you can see their not impact on the field, but also in the locker room with what they do with some of the younger guys, like that is the epitome of who he was.
I remember him hurting his hip in the Buffalo game. I remember seeing that. I was in the stand. I remember when he was flying towards the sideline and he took a little funky little gait, and I was like, "Ooh, man, I hope he's okay." And I don't think he played much or at all after that. But I mean, think about him and Darryl Smith. I mean, Darryl Smith was. I mean, how those two guys weren't like all pro. You know what I mean? Like they were so good.
Yeah,
so good. I mean, and granted, Stroud Henderson in front of him makes their life a lot easier. Let me tell you. Little help there. Spice. Paul Spicer was great. You know, they had Reggie Hayward. They had a lot of good players.
Yeah. It's like when we talk about Fred Taylor. It's not that Fred Taylor wasn't a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. It's that there were a litany of guys that had
Correct.
more notoriety and bigger markets ahead of them. And
markets.
that's what happened with I'm sure,
No
guys
doubt.
like Puzz Leslie
Lot
and
of
Darryl
guys.
Smith, too.
A lot of guys.
For sure. All right, more to do on the other side, including more draft talk as Dalton Wasserman joins us. He's an NFL and college football analyst. We will chat with him on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
1010XL is multimedia. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
You can't buy this kind of media exposure.
1010XL, maximum media exposure.
Imagine this. You and your buddies outside enjoying the warm weather. The grill is fired up, steaks are sizzling, drinks in hand, and you're all hanging out around your brand new outdoor kitchen. CSS Fireplaces in Outdoor Living can make it happen. From custom outdoor kitchens to fireplaces, fire pits, and more. They bring your backyard dreams to life. You dream it, they build it. Visit CSSFireplaces.com and make your backyard the place everyone wants to be this season.
Florida Heat doesn't play games, but some AC companies do. You've heard the too good to be true ads. Let's be honest. Nobody sends a licensed AC technician to your house for $25. Suddenly, your cheap tune-up turns into a $1,000 problem. At Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, we believe in taking care of our customers. Right now, you can chill out for just $99. That gets you a full AC diagnostic and the truth about your system. No scare tactics. Call 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
To catch more fish, you've got to think like a fish. Captain Kevin and the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services, and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Yo, ET here. And you know that on the field preparation wins championships, right? Well, the same goes for your health. Right here in my side of town in Fleming Island, Encore Research Group is helping locals take charge through cutting-edge research studies. Everything from weight loss to diabetes and hypertension. Their team of local, multi-specialty doctors is focused on advancing medicine and keeping our community healthy. If you want to see if you qualify, check them out at EncoreDocs.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Leon Serza here, your lemon pepper guy. You know Wingstop always delivers. And I'm not talking about their cooked-to-order, hand-sauced and tossed chicken sandwich in your choice of 12 mouth-watering flavors. I'm not talking about the house-made ranch. So good, nobody will blame you if you double dip. I'm talking about Wingstop that delivers straight to your door. And did you know they're open until 1 a.m.? So visit wingstop.com or use the app to get flavors delivered right to your door late night only at Wingstop.
Can't stop. Wingstop.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Fred Taylor. If you've been in an auto accident, you need a team who knows how to get you back on your feet and back to your life. At North Florida Medical Center, they don't just treat the injury, they treat the whole person, from physical therapy to pain management. North Florida Medical Center has a team of experts ready to help you heal and recover. I trust the team here at North Florida Medical Center, and you can too. So don't wait. Call North Florida Medical Center and get the care you deserve.
Kubota keeps job sites running smoothly with the #1 selling compact excavator lineup in the world. Reliable, capable, and backed by strong dealer support. Stop by today and power up your crew. Right now, bring home select Kubota excavators with 0% financing available, or save up to $7,000. Now through June 30th, see store or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer. Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Riddle Wellness. Huge news for the Gators basketball team yesterday as star Alex Condon announced that he will be returning to the team next season, foregoing the NBA draft. Condon had another amazing season, averaging 15 points, 7.5 boards, and over 3 assists this past year, and now makes the Gators serious contenders for the 2027 National Championship. It's 86 degrees at 3:01. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Welcome back into Helmets and Heels. We will continue on some of this draft conversation. Now joined by Dalton Wasserman, NFL and college football analyst, co-host of Preferred Walk-On College Football Show with Max Chadwick. So Dalton, thanks for hopping on and chatting some drafts now that we are a week away.
Absolutely appreciate it. Big time. You're right. Only a week away, right? It feels like the anticipation right about this week coming is always at an all-time high, and just can't wait to get on the roller coaster that is next weekend.
Yeah, especially around here because it was a lot quieter than last season. Last season with coaching changes and a busier free agency and a high first-round draft pick. None of those things the same this year for the Jaguars, but they do have that 56th pick in the second round. That will be their first pick. So that's obviously where the conversation starts here, Dalton. And a lot lot of the projections for who may be selected are on the defensive side of the ball, rightfully so. So I wanted to start there with you, and I want to. The defensive line and edge has been a big conversation, but one of the big names this offseason that the Jaguars did lose in free agency was linebacker Devin Lloyd. And Devin Lloyd had a really good season last year. That was one of the players, several interceptions. He was able to rush the passer, doing a lot of things. So a lot of people are saying, hey, do you have a linebacker on the roster that can do similar, or can you get somebody at 56? Is there any linebackers that you like in the second, third round that you think can do some of those things and fill a role like Devin Lloyd was able to do last year?
Yeah, I think especially when you talk about Lloyd and his abilities in coverage, and the Jags in general were just one of the best teams in football covering over the middle of the field, and Lloyd was such a big piece of that. I think what you're looking for is more athletic guys who can play in space, right? One name that jumps out at me who I think could be available there at 56 is Cincinnati's Jake Golday, and he's made such a great transition to the linebacker position. He was at Central Arkansas before he was at Cincinnati as a defensive end, but he's got really good range, his speed out there in space, and even playing in the slot at times in Cincinnati was really good. He's got a good idea of what he's doing in coverage, and he's just that athletic type of player that you can put out there on the weak side or out in space and allow him to work in coverage. If they were willing to wait a little bit longer into the third round, I think, then you start talking about a guy maybe like Pittsburgh's Kyle Lewis, who's really undersized, but he can play almost in that hybrid role. There's some who have thought even maybe he's kind of this hybrid linebacker, safety, just athlete that you put out there, and he can absolutely fly in open space. And he's also competent in the run game, right? He plays with his hair on fire. He's really smart. He's just 220 pounds, so you kind of have to live with that in certain situations. But those are the types of players I would look for, guys that can really excel in space. And for me, those are two day two guys who can do that.
Hey, Dalton, Tom McManus here. Great to meet you and great to have you on the show. We appreciate the time. What do you think with 56 or even in pick number 81? Do you think offensive tackle comes into play for our Jacksonville Jaguars?
I don't know if tackle comes into play necessarily because, with Cole Van Lanen on that extension that they just gave him and Anton Harrison at right tackle pretty locked in pretty well there. I think the interior could be, something that could be looked at as well. Just find some depth, right? Because you got some veterans who are on shorter term contracts, right? Especially when I think about Robert Hainsey at center. I think a future center could be something to invest in, right? You think about round two, and especially that 81st pick. I think that's kind of a sweet spot for centers. You talk about a guy that I love, Jake Slaughter from Florida, I think could be a really good target. You think about a Logan Jones from Iowa, Sam Heck from Kansas State. I would look out for that in the third round. I think round 3 and maybe early round 4 is really a sweet spot to find maybe a developmental center who could sit behind Robert Hainsey for a year, and then you can figure things out as you get into year 2 and 3 there.
Dalton, who are a couple of your favorite players, whether it's edge or defensive tackle?
Ooh, especially in that range, there's a lot. 56 is a good spot for that too. I think about Michigan's Derek Moore being a really underrated player. Maybe he could sneak in to the top 50, but I think he's someone who could be a solid, well-rounded starter for you. Really productive pass rusher there at Michigan. I think about guys like R. Mason Thomas, if he falls to that spot and you want a designated pass rusher and you can move Trayvon Walker inside there. Romello Height from Texas Tech is probably going to be in that range. Same thing, a little bit undersized, not great against the run, but again, you want to put him in early in his career in those pass rush type of situations. I think got a lot of guys. The edge group really is the best, to me, the best group, the deepest group in this draft. There's going to be good players taken all the way through round 4. And then if you want a run stopper on the inside, I think I'll go back to Cincinnati with a guy like Dante Corleone if they want him in the 3rd or 4th round, big nose tackle who can plug up the A-gaps. I think that would be something that could really help that Jacksonville defense down the middle.
When you talk about the interior defensive lineman, we were chatting about it earlier in the show, and there was some projections that there might not be a defensive tackle taken in the first round. If they do come, probably a little later. So it'll be interesting to see how these all start to play out once that Caden McDonald goes and some of those guys. But a lot of the conversation we've had, Dalton, is around Caleb Banks, obviously out of Florida, dealing with that injury. That's one of the bigger conversations. And some people say won't even be in the first round because of that. What are you hearing when it comes to a Banks and those interior defensive tackles in general?
I agree. I ended up, when I finished my top 100 just yesterday, actually, I had him somewhere in the 40s, I think around 45, because everything about, really his college career was inconsistent, right? Inconsistent availability, inconsistent play. The high-end flashes are probably the best, especially as a pass rusher, of anybody in the defensive tackle group. But you're talking about a guy that only played 3 games this past year, and even when he played the full year in 2024, there were games like the LSU and the Ole Miss game where he was dominant, and there were other games where he kind of disappeared. The flashes are great. And I think the one thing that needs to be mentioned, even though he's got the athletic tools and all that, is there was so many, comparisons to Chris Jones, let's say, coming out of the combine. And I don't know that he's necessarily that type of player. He reminds me a little bit more of, there's some Derek Brown in there in the way that he's built. There's some Travis Jones, who's been a really good player for the Baltimore Ravens for a long time as a third-round pick. So I think I think Caleb Banks can be really good, but everything about his career, between the availability and the production, it's just got to get more consistent for me personally. And that it's about risk mitigation, and you can mitigate that risk a little bit more. You take him in the second round at some point.
Host of Preferred Walk-On College Football Show, Dalton Wasserman, is our guest. Let's look at that safety position, Dalton, if we can. In that third round, maybe you see guys like Bud Clark, Jennison Smith, maybe a Kamari Ramsey out of USC. Who do you like for the Jags in maybe that third round with 81, 88, or 100?
Some different types of players, and actually the two that jump out at me, especially considering, one of the quieter losses I thought for Jacksonville in free agency was Andrew Wingard, who did so many different things in their defense, and that flexibility that Anthony Campanelli had in their defense, a lot of that came from the fact that Wingard could play so many roles, especially down in the box, right? We think about Antonio Johnson and his development a lot, but Wingard is kind of that same style of player. The two guys that stick out to me, you mentioned one there, Kamari Ramsey, I think is someone they could think about as high as 56. He's done a little bit of everything in his career there at USC and at UCLA before that. He can play any position for you. He's got enough speed and versatility to play on the back end if you need him to, or he's real aggressive down in the box. He's one, or if they wanted somebody who really could help them in the run game a lot, Zachy Wheatley from Penn State, I think is somebody who he's kind of like his former teammate Kevin Winston last year, a little bit lighter version of that, but a really good run defender who you can trust down in the box and down near the line of scrimmage. And I think enough range in the toolbox, as long as he can fix some footwork issues, that he could play back in a deep half and do all the things Campanelli wants him to. I think those two guys right there, especially as a direct replacement for Wingard on day 2, could be a really good fit.
I'm so glad you gave Dewey a shout out.
I like that.
I wanted to bring him
loves
back.
Dewey.
We do. We love Dewey because he's a hard hitter, and he was a guy that was all Duval. So, yeah, I'm glad you shouted him out. Dalton, I want to know, when it comes to your process, how much football are you watching in season, like in college football season in the NFL, versus now?
Oh, man, I mean, it's a lot. It's just two different ways of watching it. I mean, to be honest with you, when I was still with PFF during the season, I was preparing for 25 or so games a week between NFL and college, getting our game previews and then reviews and everything like that ready. So having eyes on that at all times. I mean, hours and hours preparing for that many games, and then even now it's just different, right? You go through all these prospects, and I usually do it by position, and each position takes a few days, but it's just a matter of being willing to put in the time, right? And to me, I say all the time, it's two different ways of watching the game, because during the season I'm watching so much of like, okay, which team is going to win this? It's the scheme, it's the counter punches, it's the personnel, and then it's guys who are in and out of the lineup because of injuries and all of that. And then you get to watching these guys one final sweep individuals during the draft. It's a whole different way of watching the tape, right? Figuring out what traits are going to translate, how this guy individually at his position executes and sees the field, right? And 3 things that I always look for in every prospect: hands, feet, and eyes. I think at any position in different ways, those are the 3 things that are going to tell you everything you need to know about a player. So 2 different ways of watching a game, but certainly plenty of hours that are put in to all of these guys trying to prepare for as many of them as possible going in this draft.
I don't know if you saw the media availability comments between James Gladstone and Liam Cohen, but they asked James about watching film by himself and then watching film with Liam, and he's like, oh, it takes me way longer when Liam's there, because Liam wants to break down all 11 instead of just the one prospect I'm looking at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have that a little bit too, especially with as much as I watch college football and break it down and just go, all these teams and these tendencies and things like that. And watching with others and getting to argue with others is always going to make it longer, right? I mean, even me, there's times when I'll be going through film and then I got to text a Max Chadwick or a Trevor Sikkema and be like, hey, where are you at on this? Are you seeing the same things I am or something different? So, obviously that's part of the fun of it too, is the months and the weeks and months of debate that goes into it between all the experts. And it's so many people that see the game game in so many different ways, right? I think, there's a lot of arguments to be had, but it's just people that see the game in different ways, and every team and every perspective, they're going to want different types of players.
Dalton, we appreciate all the time you guys put into this because it is a lot of film and it helps us get through this month getting ready to, as we're now, like I mentioned at the top, a week away from the draft. I did want to ask you before we let you go, though, because one name that the Jags did draft last year, and we were talking about the safeties a little bit, that we didn't even get to see this year, Caleb Ransaw, who they used a third-round pick for, but unfortunately got injured, missed the whole season. We knew he was going to have a position change in general, corner primarily in college, moving to safety in the NFL. What are your thoughts on Ransaw and where he can fit when it comes to this defense? Because it's almost like a new draft pick that they'll have this year.
I think, like I mentioned before, that safety spot that's been vacated now by Andrew Wingard, I think he's a player who can be squarely in that competition. And maybe, like you mentioned, this day two approach of the draft could tell you a lot about Ransaw standing within the organization, right? Do we feel like, he's coming off the injury, we got to develop him behind the scenes, play him on special teams? Or with what they spent on him last year, do they feel like he can be a starter and take over that spot? If they're really confident in that, I think you could see that if they come out of the second or third round without, say, one of the top 8 safeties in this draft, because I think once you get out of the top 100, there's a big drop-off there. So if we get to the end of Friday and they haven't taken a safety, I think it's Ransaw's job to lose at that point, but we're going to see how they feel about him coming out of his recovery and how confident they feel he can fill a starting role that early in his career.
Definitely a big mystery. Dalton Wasserman, you'll find him at CFB_Dalton on X. And so, again, we appreciate your time, Dalton. I know a lot of work's put into this, so you're almost to the finish line, at least for the 2026 draft.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll have him on after the draft so he can help us break down some of the prospects, potentially the 11 players of the Jaguars.
He sounds a little bit like Mel Kiper a little bit. Did you notice that? His voice does.
Some tone into it, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. He's on it, man. He's on it. You can tell he's studying a lot.
25 games you're previewing and reviewing.
Each week. Yeah. We do it for one main Jaguars team, obviously one NFL team, and then some college football teams. And that feels like, it's so much fun, but we're doing it in a different light. We are not breaking down the individual players. But it's a lot of work. And we, like Taylor said, we so appreciate his time. All right, more to do on the other side. Lots that have come into Lauren's lane, so we will get to that next. Keep it right here, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
He's like got this gift, the blankness.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Look, I'm not trying to insult you.
The Drill.
Can you not judge me for like 2 seconds?
Mornings on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here, and Big Chief Tire makes it easier than ever to get the tires you need with the Big Chief credit card. No annual fee, low monthly payments, and great promotional financing. Plus, you get free flat repairs and rotations, and right now, $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. I love how simple they make everything. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com to apply for the credit card and get the tires you need today. That's Big Chief Tire.
Get ready for an unforgettable night with the legendary Bill Murray. The icon of Caddyshack and SNL takes the stage at the Florida Theater. This isn't just comedy. It's a high-energy mix of music, storytelling, and pure entertainment. From the Grand Ole Opry to rocking out with the Blood Brothers, Bill Murray delivers a show like no other. Don't miss out. April 19th at Florida Theater. Grab your tickets today for Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers at floridatheater.com.
Hey, Tommy Mack here for Armstrong Fence Company, a locally owned and operated business on the First Coast for nearly 20 years. Known for reliability, quality craftsmanship, and professional service, Armstrong Fence handles it all, from big projects like stadiums and schools to your very own backyard. Basically, they build a wicked strong fence, and they do it right every single time. When you need a fence, trust Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
If you miss an interview, it'll be waiting for you on demand.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Search where you find podcasts. And at 1010XL.com. Trained by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
The NFL draft is almost here, so that means it is time for spring cleaning and spring organizing. Lauren Brooks here, and I love our organized closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live. From closets and garages to entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and storage for any space and budget. Make an appointment today to tour their showroom on Phillips Highway and get 40% off, plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free consultation at 904-878-9393 or online, closetsbydesign.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $5,000 per ounce, and silver is over $100 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold and silver for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, Prosser here, but here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit card, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. Here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at a near 3-year low. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation? From a real person? Good luck. That is what's so nice about Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Unlike publicly traded conglomerates with headquarters in faraway cities, Mike Merritt's Heating and Air remains family-owned and operated by Mike, your neighbor. Mike Merritt has delivered hometown service, integrity, and pricing for generations. The big guys incentivize their techs to sell you new equipment. Mike's team emphasizes repair first. We only sell you equipment if your current equipment is worn out and beyond repair. And let's be honest about price. Small operations without much overhead can sometimes lowball your job, but you can't trust just anyone with a truck. They may be here today and gone tomorrow. Mike Merritt has been keeping North Florida cool for more than 3 decades. That's experience and dedication you can count on. Call today or see us on the web.
Florida license number CAC 050384.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you once again. Excuse me, thanks to Dalton Wasserman for joining us. Really good stuff there when it comes to some guys that the Jaguars might draft at 56. And I so appreciate an analyst that knows the impact, the positive impact that Andrew Wingard brought to this team. I'm not saying he's the best safety that the Jags have ever had. I'm not saying that. But to understand that losing him does lose Anthony Campanile, some of the
versatility of how many places
absolutely,
and ways
and the
they
3
used
safeties
Wingard.
that they had on the field and things like that. That part I just respect Dalton's understanding of this team.
Yeah, I mean, look, I liked Wingard too. I thought he was a very good player for a while, but I think they're going to upgrade him. I think he's upgradable. I think he was good at times. I think he was a liability in coverage at times, deep. But obviously he's had a great career, and I hope he has a great career with Arizona. As long as he's not playing us, I hope he has a fantastic whatever that is.
I'm sure that's how the Cardinals fans felt about losing Dennis Gardeck. Like, here's this guy that's really good on special teams, and then also at times can also bring things to the pass rush. Now, granted, he suffered an ACL injury, but still, like, to lose a player like that is sometimes it is hard to replace.
Well, I think for Wingard too, it's the mental, knowing the defense, knowing the calls, making. It's very important. You got to your safety's got to make sure that the secondary, the back 7, are on the same page. Just like the Mike or whoever the signal caller is has to make sure the front 7's on the same page.
Yeah.
And then you both together have to know the front and the coverage and be on the same page. So they're going to miss that. no doubt. But can the young guys pick it up?
Sure.
You know, Antonio Johnson should know this defense inside and
And
out.
we've talked about Ray and Lane, great on special teams,
Ray and Lane,
and maybe what can he bring if he gets more defensive snaps playing safety? We'll see. Again, depending on what they do in the draft, will tell us a lot.
And that's what we've been kind of saying. If they draft a safety with one of those first 3 picks, you're probably thinking that maybe they don't. Those Caleb Bransell questions are valid, or maybe they like Eric Murray. We've talked about that because obviously they paid him to bring here. But even when you look at the snap counts for last year for safety, Wingard had 999. Antonio Johnson was next with 700. Eric Murray was 661, and then Rayon Lane with 117. So that's a lot of snaps you're losing. And granted, different places and different times. Eric Murray missed a chunk of games, 5 games. So that during that period of time, Andrew Wingard, Dewey played every snap during that period of time. So that is a part of it. If Eric Murray didn't get hurt, it does that look a little bit different.
And this was less to say like the Jags are going to be desperately missing Wingard. It was more to say I'm impressed that Dalton Wasserman knew at least that who Andrew Wingard is and what role he played, when I feel like some analysts have no idea what the Jaguars' needs are across the board.
He wasn't like, you better take a running back at 56.
Right, which we have seen people mock a running back at 56.
He's done some studying.
All right, I have lots to get into, so time now for Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane. Opened up by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
You heard in Max's update, the news broke a little after our show ended yesterday. Alex Condon is back for his senior season. The All-SEC forwards / center, I'll call more forward though, has averaged 11 points, 7.1 rebounds throughout his 3 seasons at Florida. Obviously, hoping to hear that also Ruben Chinyelu is going to come back, and then we'll see about Thomas Houck. We've had that conversation enough, but as far as the Todd Golden creation when it comes to the 2026-2027 basketball team, so far, a lot of experience and a lot of guys he's familiar with. So he's, I feel like, building a really good roster heading into next season.
Yeah, and you talk about the experience with each other. That's part of it. And I do think maybe that was a little bit, we saw the slow start that Florida had this year, and you were counting on 2 new pieces playing pivotal roles on the team this year. And so now you maybe some decisions with Houck depending, but the rest look like they're returning, and you're getting Aberdeen back, who was here previously. So there's familiarity there.
As long as he gets the extra year, which I think he should.
As long as he gets that approved. And so I do think that in the way of being able to start faster next year, not that it hurt the Gators because you still got a 1 seed leading into it, but it did feel like early on in the season when they were playing those, the Dukes and Arizonas and stuff like that, and they were losing those games, it felt like things were a little clunky. You get that faster start. You're beating some of these better teams early on. How much does that help you down the stretch? And then once you get into the tournament, and so I think the more you play together, the better. Obviously, and we've talked about that. That's why we've also mentioned so much why college football, but college basketball especially, because the rosters are smaller. It's difficult. You're building a pretty much whole new team sometimes on a yearly basis or every other year basis, and that's hard to do. So
Michigan said, "Hold my beer," though, because they had all starting players were transfers, but still, it's
Florida
not.
Did it the year before. It was like 4 transfers, 4 of their 5. So it's just what we do. It's like the world you live in. But that's the positive of this next year. You have a lot of guys, and I mean, I guess Aberdeen's a transfer.
Yeah,
but
he did spend a year away from Gainesville. But
he was on holiday.
Yeah,
it's a good time to be a college athlete. You get paid good money. Some will get paid more than they'll get paid in the NBA, maybe at least initially. Why not go back? I mean, at Gainesville, it's a lot of honeys. You can play some hoop. Make some money. Yeah. You don't have to go to class. Like, what else? It's pretty good life
go to class, okay?
For a year, or whatever. But, yeah, that's great. Listen, I'm sure for the coach, he's like, absolutely. I mean, bring him back. Come on, let's run it back. Let's try to make it
Condon has such a great personality, the former Australian rules rugby player, obviously.
Right.
Like, he's a tough guy. He plays through injury, and so, he can do a lot. He's obviously got to work on his perimeter shooting. That's why he's not entering the NBA draft this year, I think. But I'm sure that's one thing that he'll spend a lot of time in the gym on.
Man. Make it better.
So who was it? It was Chinyelu who did not play basketball, and some lady was like, "You're really tall. You should go play."
Nigeria,
and then Condon was a rugby player
in Australia.
Oh, that's fun.
Rules football, which is like rugby, right?
Yeah, Australian rules football, which is very similar to rugby.
Similar to rugby,
But
cool.
Todd Golden and lots of other college basketball coaches too recruit internationally. Although originally Chinyelu went to Washington State, and then he got on Golden's radar. All right, gymnastics. Are y'all ready for the gymnastics update?
Go. Who's jumping?
Who's jumping? At 4:30 p.m. we have, so basically in the world of college basketball, Tonight is this afternoon and tonight is the Elite Eight in gymnastics.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's obviously not the same way as basketball, but there's going to be 2 heats. So semifinal number 1 is at 4:30. That's the one that Florida is in. And Florida competes against LSU, Stanford, and Georgia. LSU gets the Olympic rotation, meaning LSU gets to start on vault and end on beam. How a traditional rotation is if you're at home, that's called the Olympic rotation.
Okay.
So LSU gets that because they were the higher seed, higher just by 1. Even though Florida beat LSU, as we discussed, it all depends on your national average.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
You're
but
good.
is one heat one time around all 4 exercises? Is that considered a heat?
That is a heat, and that is an
one heat.
entire meet, really.
Gotcha.
When I say heat, I mean because they have 2 different semifinals
Going on. 2 of those.
2, one at 4:30, one at 9
Gotcha.
p.m. Yes. So in the 9 p.m. one, you'll have Oklahoma, Arkansas, UCLA, and Minnesota. Oklahoma, of course, will get the Olympic rotation because they're the number 1 seed. And then what that means for Florida, they will start on beam, which is normally very nerve-wracking, but it's kind of nice to get it out of the way. But Florida's really good on beam. Then they'll go to floor, which is not one of their better ones, still top 10 in the country. Then vault, and again, not one of their best ones, but still pretty good. And then they'll end on bars. So they'll actually end on their best.
They're good
one.
on bars, I would
So
imagine.
they'll
Excellent on
start
bars,
and
excellent on
finish
beam.
on
On their best ones.
Okay.
So sometimes most teams are honestly the best at floor. So they like to finish on floor, like LSU. They like to finish on floor because all the scores kind of build in the meet, and tension builds. The scores from the judges end up getting higher and higher usually throughout the meet. So that's why teams like to finish on floor.
Yeah.
But Florida's so good on bars that I don't mind the fact that they're going to finish on bars. When it comes to the gymnasts in the first semifinal that have multiple events in as far as 10s are concerned. So 5 gymnasts have multiple events that they've scored a 10 on in just the first semifinal. Florida has 2 athletes, Sky Blakely, bars and beam, Selena Harris-Miranda, bars and beam also. Then LSU, Caitlin Chio. And if you're going to watch that meet, watch her. She has a 10 on vault, beam, and floor.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's incredibly good in a long line of really good LSU gymnasts. And then Stanford has a girl named Anna Roberts. She has a 10 on vault and a 10 on floor. And then this is cool. Michigan State is not in the competition as far as a team is concerned, but they have 1 athlete. Her name is Nikki Smith. She has a 10 on both vault and floor. So how it goes is Florida, like I said, will start on beam. Then when Florida's done as far as the team is concerned, the individual athlete that's competing on that event will go and perform.
Got you.
So the meet does last a little bit longer than a traditional
So
meet.
if she wins Michigan State, it is, or Michigan State,
she
they
wins,
win, or
she wins individual.
She wins,
Okay.
Yeah. So what's interesting is the individual finals are today and tonight. So
Okay.
while it's semifinals for the team, it's the finals for the individuals. So
Okay.
there's just 1 individual on each event as far as each semifinal. And then so I'm guessing at the end of the semifinals tonight, that's when we'll know of the individuals who wins.
Does every team have 1 gymnast do all 4 or no?
You don't have to.
But normally or not? Is that the all around?
Florida does. That's the all around. Normally Florida does because Florida has Olympic gymnasts,
I
but
got you.
not every team. It depends on the risk for injury. So back when Florida had Trinity Thomas, one of the best gymnasts to ever be in the sport in college gymnastics, she would have been the best all-around performer probably of all time, but she unfortunately got injured in certain events in each year. And so Jenny Rowland, the head coach of Florida, didn't want her to obviously
Have to
be
do all
susceptible to
of
injury, so she didn't want her to have all those. It's kind of like snaps in football, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
when you have somebody that's a little injury prone, you don't
pitches or
want them out there. Yeah, like a pitch count in baseball. But yeah, if you can't tell my excitement / nervous energy, 4:30 p.m.
excited.
today. You should be excited.
Yeah.
It's on ESPN too, so you have no excuse not to watch.
Oh, man. What's tonight, Thursday?
It's 4:30
Thursday.
p.m.
After Jeopardy?
Thursday on the
No,
lawn
it's before Jeopardy. That's what I'm saying. It's 4:30, and then tonight at 9 o'clock is the other one.
All right.
All right. I'll be locked in, and you will not be. And then
You never know.
You
never know.
I do know you.
He'll be like, I turned it on. I fell asleep, but I turned it.
I had it on. And then the
You're gonna
phone-
do the yard. You already
I
said.
fell off the beam.
Don't fall off the lawnmower. That's the important
Jim
thing.
beam.
And one other note, college baseball, Florida's 20th in the country, plays host to 13th ranked Auburn tonight. You can hear that game on 10:10 a.m. and the AM stream beginning at 7 p.m. So there's your baseball note. More to
Love
do
it.
on the other side, including the golden moment. It's Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Your home for Florida Gators baseball is 1010XL.
The weekend starts early with a top 20 matchup in the Swamp. Florida Auburn. Tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday at noon on 1010 a.m.
When you're hungry, go big, and more importantly, go to Dailies, where they got anything and everything to tantalize your taste buds and fill you up. At Dailies, our barbecue beef brisket sandwich is slow smoked to perfection, tender, juicy, and full of bold flavor. It's the kind of sandwich that truly satisfies. Try the barbecue brisket sandwich at Dailies. Meanwhile, some favorites never go out of style. The Duval sub at Dailies is stacked, loaded, and made with the bold flavor you want in every bite. Fresh ingredients, big taste. It's a local favorite. Grab the Duval sub today at Dailies. Or maybe you just want a delicious chicken sandwich. Some choices just work. The chicken sandwich at Dailies is crispy on the outside, it's juicy on the inside, and it is full of flavor. Perfect for lunch, perfect for dinner, perfect anytime hunger hits. So grab the chicken sandwich today at Dailies. Dailies is made fresh, it's made local, and Dailies is built for big appetites. I'll see you there today.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
This is former NFL quarterback David Garrard. If your knees have taken a beating and you're finally ready to do something about it, then let Southeast Orthopedic take a look. Come on, do your knees a favor.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
Meta World Peace, what's up, man?
Nah, that's not my name anymore, thanks to Hard Rock Bet.
We're doing this again, are we?
Now I go by Meta over rebounds, under assists, Meta the first basket, free throw, piece.
Huh, so you really can same-game parlay practically anything now on Hard Rock Bet.
It's the only place I play these days.
Download the Hard Rock Bet app and start playing today. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Like many football fans in Jacksonville, I love defense. I am attorney Lee Lockett, and I'm here to tell you that defense in the courtroom is important as well. That's because penalties for DUI are much more serious than penalties on the gridiron. If you or someone you know is facing a DUI, call us for a free case analysis now. Know before you blow 858-9818. Put my more than 20 years of experience to work for you. Office is Jacksonville, serving all surrounding counties. Call 858-9818 or go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com.
On the First Coast, we have the backs of those who protect our community. That includes our canine officers out there every day with JSO and police across our area, tracking suspects, finding missing adults and children, putting their lives on the line. Canines United make sure these four-legged heroes get the gear and training they need to come home safe. Join the 9K for Canines. Every step supports local police canine units. Sign up now at caninesunited.org, because in the Bold City, we take care of our own.
Spring is here. Time to get your lawn ready before summer heat and bugs set in. Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. They offer preventative chinch bug treatments, pre-emergent weed control, and granular fertilization, all with no contracts. This helps prevent problems before damage occurs, keeping lawns thicker, greener, and stronger. Call today to schedule your spring treatment. Julington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
Homeowners, ready to open your home to spring and shut out high energy bills? It's the 1 month only sale with Renewal by Anderson. Right now, buy one, get one 40% off windows and doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. But this offer expires April 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Golden moment for today. Dalton Wasserman joining us earlier to talk some NFL draft now that we're just a week away. It's finally here. We're finally winding things down. We get some new players on the Jacksonville Jaguars that we can then talk about and see how they fit. And we can argue about that rather than who it's going to be. But he did mention some of those names of possibilities of replacements for Devin Lloyd, because that is a conversation we've had. In the Ventrell Miller or a linebacker, what did that look like? One of the names he mentioned, Jake Golday, obviously out of Cincinnati, 6'4", 239, ran a 4.62, 39 vertical. He was an outside linebacker at Cincinnati, but they did use him, I know, a little bit, a coverage linebacker, and that's one of the things that Wasserman mentioned of that was one of was funny. He said it was Devin Lloyd's strength last year and the year before that he was so criticized of, hey, Devin Lloyd can't drop back into coverage, so here's a problem. And then that was something I don't know if he just got better at, or that was the coaching staff that really worked with him on that one thing, because that was a major critique. But one of the guys that is one of the better coverage linebackers in this draft that fit right around the range that the Jaguars could pick a linebacker.
Yeah, I always felt like he got a little bit of a bad rap on coverage. I always think he could cover, like physically. I just think mentally that
he was out of position.
Yeah, and then a couple times, safety not helping him over the top made it look like he was the one that was his fault. But look, I think what they did was just simplify it. I mean, how many times did he just drop back and was the whole player?
Yeah.
And just read and react, and he did a great job at it. I like Goldie. He's kind of, like he said, a hybrid. He's kind of edge, kind of outside backer, can do a little bit of everything. I think he's got those kind of tools. To me, to grab a middle backer doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I just don't think this is the year to do it. I think you've got another year with Foye easy, and then we'll see about Kaiser. Doesn't mean they won't hit one later on in the draft, but, to really get a middle backer, I don't think we need that.
I agree with you, but for people who maybe don't understand exactly the differences, let's take an athletic middle linebacker. If Foye can play both positions, why can't the Jaguars draft a linebacker that can also play both positions and then eventually maybe take over for Foye?
That's a great question. They maybe could do that because he has played Will. If they can find a guy that does all three things well, play the run, cover, and blitz.
And that's worth a pick at 56.
Yes,
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think you just replace. I mean, I like this Anthony Hill kid. I think he would jump right in. You wouldn't miss a beat.
You're going to die on the hill. Yeah.
I think Goldie is a little bit like in that kind of fashion. I wouldn't say on the same exact level, but close. Look, you could go the kid out of Pitt, and make him your cover linebacker, and then you use Ventrell, in base. You use Foye in base. You're going to use Foye in nickel too because he's a good cover guy. There's options there. But I think if you can come away with a guy that can do all those three things well, don't have to be the best at all three, but do them all well.
But that's worth it.
I think you got a nice find right there at 50.
Kyle Lewis is who you're referring to.
Kyle Lewis out of Pitt, yeah. And Pitt typically has good linebackers.
Yeah.
So they've tough backers that come out of that school.
Absolutely. Dane Brugler in his 7-round mock has Kyle Lewis going 76th. And obviously people consider him linebacker / safety. That's the interesting part about Kyle Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things, and I think that because the two linebackers that we've seen mocked, I think the most, and maybe that started to change recently, was Jacob Rodriguez and Josiah Trotter, who are both middle linebackers. And so we've had that conversation of, okay, well, why, that's Foye's spot. So that's not the linebacker you need. But that is, I think, a conversation in the sense of, Tommy, because you were talking about it and you mentioned, and I went back and looked at Atlanta, he would play weak side a lot in Atlanta and was one of his better years. He had 192 tackles that year, 2 sacks. He had, I want to say, I was looking at it a second ago, so 4 for loss, 7 QB hits that year. And so he had a really good season in Atlanta playing that position. And so it more so makes you wonder, would they be willing, if you're getting what you feel like is your middle linebacker for the next 10 plus years, would you be willing to say, Foye, you play weak side, you get this middle linebacker? And that's, I don't know the answer to that. I'm just saying I wonder if some of their mind goes there at all.
I feel like, this is just my gut, right? I don't have inside info, but I feel like they feel like Jack Kaiser could play middle if they need him to. I think he's built to play middle. I think he has got enough athletic ability. He's strong enough. He can get off blocks. In his limited time, he made plays. He wasn't, and obviously it's hard to really judge a guy on limited plays because you don't get into a rhythm. You're not out there for series after series after series type thing. But I bet you if you ask them, they'd say, yeah, Jack could play middle for us right now.
Unless they draft a middle linebacker 56.
Yeah.
Well, then Jack might as well call his agent and be like, get me out of here because they don't believe in
and
me.
Kaiser went to Notre Dame. I love Kaiser. I was excited they brought him here, but I was more excited because of the leadership side of what he does in the room. And most people from Notre Dame would agree in the sense of they always felt he was probably more of a depth piece on rosters rather than a starter. He spent a lot of time. He's older. He spent, he was at Notre Dame for a while. So kind of what you have is what most people think you're going to get. I don't know how much higher the ceiling is for him. So you didn't get to see much last year, and so
You're not
maybe
beating out those two guys. You know what I mean, from last year.
Yeah.
Foyer
yeah.
and Devin.
And that's part of it, was that there was no chance for that. And so maybe that's the answer. And I think we've talked about this a lot. Those first 2-3 picks are going to tell us a lot about certain positions of how they feel about this roster. Yeah.
It feels like we've been fishing and fishing and fishing.
We are.
And next week we're finally going to be catching and catching and catching. That's right. I am excited for the flounder and grouper and whatever else we're going to get. All right. Pest of the day on the other side. You were listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Best Bet is number one. That's right, Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I went to the branch on 210 to get my car loan and had a fantastic experience. I got a great rate and was in and out. The online banking services are also outstanding. Depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards for 3 years running, and it's easy to see why. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
La playa is Spanish for the beach. If you can't remember that, the word Corona also works. Corona, La Playa awaits.
We've all been there. You hear about an incredible event Monday morning, but it happens Sunday. Stop missing out. Jacksonville is the flip side of Florida, and we have the solution. From under-the-radar sporting events to the perfect family outing or date night, Visit Jacksonville is your all-access pass to the city. Plan your 2026 season at visitjacksonville.com/locals. visitjacksonville.com/locals. Or download the Visit Jax app for the full lineup. See what you've been missing.
It's time to take your season to the next level when the Jaguars return to the bank in 2026. Become a season ticket member and unlock exclusive access to ticketed events, members-only experiences, NFL membership club perks, and more. Availability is limited due to in-bowl renovations, so don't wait. Call 904-633-2000 or visit jaguars.com/season tickets to secure your spot at the center of the action. We'll see you at the bank this fall.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the Checkmate chess man.
At most companies, people start on the ground floor and work their way up to the corner office. At Checkmate, I started on the ground floor, and almost 20 years in, that's still where I am, making ground floors look awesome, one garage at a time.
Well, I started as a pawn and worked my way up to king.
No, you didn't. Some guy drew you as a king. I asked them to give you a roller, so at least you'd look like one of the guys.
Yes, I rather would have preferred a sword.
At Checkmate, I work personally with our teams to perfect the preparation and application techniques that make Checkmate floors beautiful and durable.
And I keep things classy with my adorable accent.
Beautiful floors?
Check. Guaranteed to last?
Check. The finishing touch your home deserves? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
Fight night is here. Join Dan and I at UNF Arena for Guns N' Hoses Saturday, April 18th. You want to be a part of the pugilistic festivities? Go to GNHJacks.com and get your tickets now. It's Guns N' Hoses Saturday, April 18th.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Coming back, summer sun.
That was one of those moments where RJ was like, I know Lauren's looking at me like, what on earth are you playing right now? And so he held up his finger like, hold on just a second. I waited. I was patient. I'm not a very patient person, but I was patient right there. RJ, what are you playing for us?
James Blake,
Okay.
Hummingbird, off a particular Spider-Man album. I find artists kind of in like the weirdest ways. Like I heard him on the Spider-Man album, and then he's got a great kind of whatever you'd like to call it, discography.
Okay.
Just of music. Didn't know he was from England either. So I enjoy his music a lot.
I like it. And I love hearing new music all the time. All right, time now for the Pest of the Day. Is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's Terminix.com. They do such a great job taking care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town, including my house. Not your favorite event venue, but one of my favorite event venues.
I do love your house.
Why, thank you. All right, so a former Alabama football player faces charges of wire fraud and identity theft after he allegedly used wigs and fake driver's license to impersonate NFL players for the purpose of securing nearly $20 million in loans.
Goodness.
Prosecutors allege that Luther Davis pretended to be 3 different NFL players from May 2023 until October of 2024 to secure loans from multiple lending agencies. The players whose identities were allegedly used: Falcons quarterback Michael Penix, Browns tight end David Njoku, Packers safety Xavier McKinney. So Luther Davis, I have a feeling, is going to be in jail for quite a long time, but I have no idea what happens.
20 mil in about a year. Good job, son.
Good job.
Wow.
I mean,
That's a lot of money.
I will say, I will say I'm surprised. So, my previous job was working in financial aid. So when the moment that you get a loan or a credit card, what have you, like it goes on your credit report instantaneously.
Yeah.
And the only thing that people are supposed to ignore on a credit report is any sort of medical debt. Everything else is taken into account when it comes to buying things, right? And so I'm shocked that once he secured one loan, I guess, but it was under the 3 different people. So
Well, didn't you have to show more than just an ID?
He's like
who are
dressed
these
up
people
like
giving out the loans?
like
Hey,
little-
show me your ID. Here's 10 mil.
Yeah,
like
I guess
the little rascals when they like piled on each other and they dressed up and they're like, he's like, can I get a loan? Here's my
I guess
ID.
now that I think about it, it's not under his social security number, but you would think he would need their social security numbers.
That's
what
they
have
have
it
more than
forward.
just the ID.
But yeah, up to
And where are
nearly
those
$20
players? Because these players make a lot of money. All 3 of those, at least, and especially McKinney. He just got a big old contract recently with Green Bay, where his accountant didn't realize that
fire
there's
all
a
them
loan
people.
being processed for you.
Right, that's the part that's very interesting.
Where's the ding?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hard
Anytime, I mean, if I have a credit card that, a certain amount of money is spent, I get certainly a ping on my phone.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
That's wild.
Yeah.
People are crazy with how they like some of the fraud. There's the documentary on Netflix about the girl, Anna is her name. And she does this to so many people in so many years. She ends up she can get on private jets and travel all over the world and like practically owns hotels and stuff because she just fooled so many people. And she would use the wire transfer excuse like, oh, it's a wire transfer. It'll be to you in a few days. And people just trusted her because she hung out with all these big wigs. It's crazy what people can get away with.
You ever see the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks?
Yes.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
That's pretty. And the guy ended up working for the feds after he got busted.
They're like, you're good.
Smart. Yeah.
You're so good. Work for us. Oh, what a deal.
The best criminals probably should. All right, let's say hello to the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnik. Nimnik Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnik Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Frank, let's talk about wire fraud and identity theft.
Yes, well, I did, but I
Walked
did
into that one, Frank.
But the movie is fantastic.
It is.
Oh my
great.
God, Catch Me If You Can is fantastic.
Can you have a bad movie with Leo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks?
They were both.
Or any movie with Tom Hanks?
Hanks plays so many different roles. He was great at that.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah. So let me just say this, okay? I've got to say what I got to believe here, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my 3rd straight handoff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I've set the bar. Okay, I mean, good luck.
It's hot.
Good luck, Caroline. Okay, I'm just saying now. Good luck, Hayes. Okay, now that the bar, I'm just saying, Taylor, I think the bar is set now. I mean, good luck, Hayes. We'll go back in there on Monday, but I'd play hard if I was you. So
What if we told you that you can rotate?
No, we'll do that. Not into that. Okay. You know what? I'm good. I'm good. No, look, I'm coming tomorrow too. I'm on a roll. Okay.
I actually really have enjoyed the show with you, Hacker and JJ. I love the back and forth that y'all have all had.
They've had a lot
of.
And Ryan O'Halloran's in today and tomorrow. Ryan will be great too.
Okay.
I love working with both of them. Can't wait to work with Ryan today, but really love working with Hacker. Hacker's my guy.
Yeah.
If you don't love Hacker, then something's wrong with your loving. You know.
That's right.
I mean,
especially the people that have known him, for as long as we have.
Yeah.
You've known him for longer than me, but I was present at their very first date. It was at your 25th anniversary party.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. They met at that 25th at Jerry's. That's
Jerry's.
Were they met there?
They met there.
They were,
Like
they
on
had
their
not,
first-
they had not met before, and I was standing there when they were introducing one
That's
another.
so cute.
Very quickly, me celebrating 25 years in radio became second fiddle. Okay? It was not,
More importantly, Hacker found the love of his life.
That's exactly right.
Also, we've had you in now, and we haven't talked to Florida gymnastics yet. So give me your breakdown of what's going to happen in the semifinal today.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. I was on last night with Buddy Martin, Scott Carter, and Allie Peak Wilbur, and Allie is a diehard. She is like you are. You. So they asked me that question last night. And I said, Allie, why don't you take it from here? Okay. That's what I said.
You used to have one standard line.
Yeah. Oh, how do we do it? How are we looking on the beam? I forgot about that. Well, let me ask you. How are we looking on the beam?
We are number 1 in the country.
Well,
on
there
the
you
beam.
go. Okay.
But
so
we start with beam tonight.
Oh, so it's tonight?
It's 4:30 p.m. today. As a matter of fact, you're going to need to put it on ESPN too.
Well, I'll definitely have it on. Scott Carter was in Fort Worth.
Facetious as all
he was on Fort Worth last night. I
love Scott Carter. I follow his work, and he does a great job of putting out the articles that their interns and student writers and such put out. But
So I don't know that we'll get deep into the Florida gymnastics today, but we will talk golf because Lee Smith's coming by.
Awesome.
Cool. And I want to ask, I think Ryan O'Halloran's done a great job as a columnist since he's been back.
He has. I've told him that too.
So I'm going to ask, how does he see the job? How's Jacksonville different now than when he left?
Yeah.
How are the Jags different? So Ryan will be here all show today and tomorrow. Lee Smith comes by at 4:15 to talk golf. All that more coming up in just a bit.
And gymnastics at 4:30.
And gymnastics
with a
at
full
4:30.
live breakdown.
You guys are talking
Looking for tens, Frank.
Yeah.
Looking for tens.
Yeah, see there. Tom and I'll talk gymnastics. What you just found out is we got our stuff. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Earlier he said there's going to be a lot of jumping.
Yeah, and we will talk about Liv because Liv's dead.
Yeah. We're not talking scores either.
Right.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Frank.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Frank.
Once again, setting the bar high. That was a 10 for
That was a 10,
crosstalk.
10 out of 10.
That was.
Other than his facetiousness when it comes to gymnastics. All right, that'll do it for us today. For Tom McManus, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show with Ryan O'Halloran is next.
Walk all over you.